You know, when it comes to merch, people tend to have a lot of opinions. And for some reason, especially for YouTuber merch. Yes, the design must incorporate the creator's entire brand, be full of obscure references, but be super subtle. That way no one actually knows that I'm wearing YouTuber merch, because that would be embarrassing. So I decided to throw all of that out the window and instead turn this into a challenge. And I'll be able to do this thanks to the help of today's video partner, Printful. I asked my viewers directly for their silliest, most absurd design ideas, and now it's going to be my job to turn that into actually genuinely good designed merch. And there's actually a lot on the line here, because no matter what, the designs that I make in this video, these designs will be on actual products for sale as my first ever official merch, so I better come up with something good.
You know, funny enough, I actually feel a strange amount of pressure for this project, because like on so many of my other projects, I'm always like, I try my best, but I'm no professional. But this project, I quite literally am a professional. I got my degree in graphic design. I worked as a graphic designer for 2 or 3 years. Like, people paid me money to design graphics. So in all senses, I am a professional. But this is also meant to be a fun challenge. So I'm going to try really hard not to overthink it, and hopefully the results turn out. All right, so I made a YouTube community post about a day and a half ago, and I've gotten a lot of good suggestions. I haven't looked through any of the responses yet because I wanted it to be a surprise, but I'm going to start going through and we're going to pick some of y'all's silliest ideas. Let's see what we have here. Okay, first comment I got was apparently Breb. This might have been a bad idea. What does Breb mean? All right, here's a suggestion that has like a couple in there, but I really like the first one of will fall for fade trap. Honestly, that's just a good shirt design. It's not even that silly. Okay, picture this, a worm, a big worm in 0.5 front-facing view staring you down, and all it says is, got dirt? That's very specific. Some of these suggestions, I'm just wondering, it's like, have you been waiting for this moment of like, yes, finally, my worm shirt can finally become a reality. A cool shot of the current winners of the Life series. What did I say about other creators' branding? I don't want to go stepping on Grian's brand. He has YouTube money. He can hire lawyers. Someone just said, frog. Period. Either a goose made out of asparagus, or Megusa, lady with geese hair. I do appreciate the punniness of that one. George, that's it. That's my idea. Okay, in quotes, sometimes I think, but then I forget, with a silly frog. Now, I do believe this is already like currently kind of a meme shirt format. However, I really do like the quote. I think it would be interesting to take the meme format and try and turn it into something a little bit different, like my own little spin on it. Plus, a lot of people wanted frogs. So I feel like I need to pick one with frogs. I cast upon thee unproductivity. A mushroom holding a knife. That would be very on brand for me. We'll keep that one on the back burner. Okay, most of these give like pretty good context of what they're like envisioning, but then there's some that are just midnight cheese. What does that mean? What does that mean? Wait, let me Google real quick to make sure it's not like code for anything. Nope, the only results I'm getting is goat cheese from Holland. I think midnight cheese is good. What would that even be? You know, I might regret this, but I think I want to go with midnight cheese. Because like I asked for silly design ideas. That is a very silly prompt. Especially since I think like will fall for fade traps and the frog one is like pretty safe. But midnight cheese? Who knows where that's going to lead? All right, so we have our silly prompts, so I think it's time to get started.
Now, the reason I'm able to do this and treat it a lot more like a lighthearted challenge is because I'm going through Printful. Like, by the end, I will design and have a product for sale. I am starting a business right now. Normally, when you think of starting a business, that's pretty stressful. Like, if I was going through a different company that required me to have a bunch of upfront costs for inventory and guaranteed sales and stuff like that, I can tell you, I wouldn't be doing silly designs. I would be a lot lot more stressed out right now. But since I'm going through Printful, which is a print-on-demand company, I don't have that. If you're unfamiliar with print on demand, it basically works like this. You make a design and then you upload it to one of their products. You get to choose how the product is placed, what colors you want it. From there, you set a profit margin and you put it up for sale, whether it be from your own website or through Printful's new Quick Store feature. And if you get a sale, Printful will then make the product and ship it directly to the customer while you get to collect the profit margin. So you get to start a business, but it's very low risk. Okay, so here's the plan. Step 1, research and planning. This means going on Pinterest, Dribbble, Behance, all those design platforms, and seeing what other people are doing at the moment, get some ideas of how I could use those things in my own designs. Step 2, design the designs. That's pretty self-explanatory. Step 3, turn the designs into actual sellable merch. Since I'll be going entirely through Printful, I just gotta choose what products I want from their library, and from there they handle the rest of the manufacturing, shipping, stuff like that. So I guess my step 4, profit, hopefully. It depends if I make a good design or not. The research and actual designing is probably going to take the rest of the day, so I better get started. Alright, so it's been about an hour and a half. I'm going to cut myself off here because if I don't, I will look at Pinterest all day being like, ooh, what if I go that direction? Ooh, what if I go in this direction? So first we're going to be looking at the Fae Trap mood board. So I was looking particularly for designs that had very much a sense of whimsy to them. Like for example, this shirt I really like as inspiration. The idea that I have for this design is, since it's talking about Fae Traps, and the most iconic Fae Trap I think that people know is the fairy circle. So maybe the design can have something kind of like this, where you have the fonts, but then it's being surrounded and encapsulated around the fairy circle. So not only will it be like framing the text, but then also it's going to be in a Fae Trap. I really like the idea of that. Then on to Sometimes I Think, but Then I Forget, with a silly little frog. And what can I say? This one pretty much writes itself. So obviously the main thing is going to be a frog, and then I think the text will be going around it, kind of creating like a badge design. And since it's going to be kind of a smaller design, I think it will lend really well to working as an embroidery. Personally, I really like embroidery merch because even if it's a pretty simple design or a pretty small design, having the design be textured embroidery, I feel like brings it to a higher level, even if it's a little bit more simple. And luckily, Printful has a ton of embroidery options. That one's pretty straightforward. It's time to go to the wild card one that I'm more nervous about. What in the world am I going to do for Midnight Cheese? You know, funny enough, I told my roommate that I chose this as the last prompt, and they go like, oh, I get it. And I went, oh, can you explain it to me? Because I don't get it. And they just go like, oh, so when it's like midnight and you need a snack, so you just get a handful of cheese out of the fridge. So I might have completely missed the assignment on this one, because the direction that I want to go with this is I'm going to kind of pull an Unis Honest. So you know how Mark and Ethan said that they came up with the name for Unis Honest by just taking the term 1 year and translating into Latin? What if we did that with Midnight Cheese? Hold on, let me go to Google real quick. Midnight. It would help if I spelt it right. Hold on. Midnight cheese. Media Noctu Kasum? I kind of just like Nocte Kasum. Yeah, let's just take that off. Yeah, Nocte Kasum! Night cheese! And just to make sure, let's flip it around. Cheese at night. I really, really like the idea of seeing a shirt that says Nocte Kasum, and you're like, ooh, what does that mean? Cheese at night. So that is how I am choosing to interpret this prompt. Okay, so let me tell you my vision. So definitely this design needs to have the moon in it. Originally I was like, oh, what if the moon's like made out of cheese? But that might be just a little
a little it's a little cheesy. So what if instead I go ahead and add a little mouse eating cheese at the bottom? So it is a mouse eating cheese at night, thus coming right back around to the prompt. Okay, so looking at this mood board, when I was looking for inspiration, I kept on coming back to a lot of lino cut print styles, which that's the type of printing where it's like you have like a wood block and then you stamp it down. So you normally get a lot of those rough edges, you have to do shading in a specific way, and I really like the idea of doing that for this one, especially having it in this sort of like square composition right here with like the moon, the rat slash mouse with the cheese. At the top it says Nocte Kasum. It's silly and stupid, but it brings a smile to my face, and not all art has to have profound meaning. Sometimes the meaning is just midnight cheese, okay? Alright, so now we have a semblance of a vision. I might try and sketch out something really quick. Oh boy, there is nothing more humbling than me trying to like sketch out designs beforehand. Like, yes, I have an art degree, but I am no illustrator. For the first one, it's mostly going to be typography, so not focusing too much on it now, just kind of getting an idea. Again, frog, super easy. I think I'm going to give him a hat because why not? And then the rat. I like the idea of where I've gone, but also I chose an idea that is like not my forte. When it comes to designers and artists, I mean, there is like a ton of overlap, and there are a ton of artists that are good at design and designers who are good at like illustrations. But then there are some people who are like, I'm a designer, not an artist. I definitely fall more along the lines of designer, not an artist. Nocte Kasum, that one's going to be, I think, the most difficult for me to do because it's very illustration heavy. Bad sketches aside, I think that it is finally time for me to head into Illustrator and start bringing these designs to life. This is actually very exciting because starting this out, I had no idea what any of these were going to look like. Right now, I think that is actually on a really good track.
Okay, the first one I'm going to start off with is the Sometimes I Forget frog. Mostly because I'm procrastinating the other two designs. And this is going to be real easy to start off with because while I was searching on Pinterest, I ended up finding like the perfect frog that I want for this design. Like this little guy over here, super cute, head empty and perfect. And turns out this little guy's for sale. Now, theoretically, I could spend 1 to 2 hours trying to replicate and make my own version of this frog, or I can just pay $1.50. I'm gonna buy the frog. But don't worry, we're not just taking this frog and slapping it on a shirt and calling it a day. We're still gonna customize it. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of some of these little tiny details because this is going to be an embroidery design. It's probably better to get rid of some of the really teeny tiny ones just to give it the best shot of being the most clean. Now it's time to give this dapper boy a hat. But what kind of hat? A pointy wizard hat? Do we want more of a witch hat? Maybe a crown? Maybe a funny little bard hat. Hold on, let me just make some better sketches than that real quick.
I actually went ahead and printed out the frog a couple of times so I could draw by hand the different hat shapes. I really like this one. I think it'll make for the best composition.
Now I can trace my design and try and match it with the style of the original frog. Okay, that's a good looking boy. It's time to figure out the text. I really thought it would look best in a circle, but maybe not. His hat, ironically, kind of gets in the way of making it like a full circle. Oh yeah, just putting it on the top. So now the hat kind of makes the natural break between sometimes I think, but then I forget. Ooh, what if we also gave him a little wizard cape? I like a good wizard cape. Wait a second. Wait, hold on a second. Wait, no, I think I just realized something. This whole time, I thought the commenter just misspelled forget. No, I just looked back at it. It's meant to be frog-get. That's why it's a frog. That's why it's a frog that's saying sometimes I forget. Oh God, I just wasn't going to mention that the original one was misspelled. Oh no, but no, that was part of the joke. Let's just go ahead and fix that. Lastly, let's try out some color variations. Oh, look at that boy. Look at that frog. Ah, that's a good looking boy right there.
You know, this is actually kind of like a cool full circle moment for me, because back in college when I started my first ever professional design internship, my first big task was making merch for that company. And the site that they used to make the merch actually was Printful. So I spent a lot of time using Printful's product design space to test out all my different ideas. And now I'm here years later doing the same thing, except it's for my own merch. So that's like pretty cool. Okay, now on to the Fey Trap design. This one, it's going to be all about the font. So I'm going to start out with taking my text and just trying out every single font that I think seems whimsical enough. Which, for me, I tend to lean more towards serif fonts, but the script font also does seem a little interesting, so I might play around with that. With typography designs, it can be so hit or miss. Sometimes half the project is just testing and exploring different fonts, but once you do find the right font, everything kind of just starts to click together. I'll normally start out by just separating all the words, kind of just messing with scale, alignment, stacking, to kind of just see how the hierarchy of the composition is going to work. Ooh, I am liking this font. It is literally called Fairy Tale. If that is not whimsical, I don't know what is. I really don't like the base of the T that they have here, and we can kind of just move things around to be a little bit more compressed. Oh, I saw this in one of the inspiration photos that I really liked. We can take the A and remove the little shape here and replace it with our own custom star shape. Now it looks more like a custom font and not something I just downloaded from Adobe Fonts. But this will is still like way too big. I need to mess around with that a little bit. I think this works. It's more balanced out now. It still has some weird empty spaces, but I think it'll be fine. So now that the type is done, it's time for the fairy circle. Now the only problem with the fairy circle is that for it to be like an actual circle, it's supposed to be top down. And the problem is that mushrooms top down just looks like a bunch of little dots. Like here's what I'm imagining with one of the reference photos, but I don't know if that would translate to vector. Yeah, no, these just look like a bunch of dots. I don't think that they really read as mushrooms. So what I think we'll try instead is going for one of the designs that just has decorative mushrooms going around it, implying that's a fairy circle. And since I don't want to hand draw a bunch of tiny mushrooms, we're going to go and find some. Good thing cottagecore mushrooms are trendy right now. Oh yep, here's a whole bundle. Might also pick up this floral wreath sort of bundle as well, just so I can have some little more things to place in there. And now we can just take these and start arranging them in our little fairy circle. I do imagine I might get comments of people being maybe a little upset that I'm not doing like every single thing from scratch, which like I understand. You don't want to watch someone just buy clip art off of Etsy and then slap it on a t-shirt. Like that's not fun. It's definitely not good content, but hopefully it comes across of that's not what I'm doing right now. I came up with the original design idea, and now I just need to take these assets and build it into a design composition. I mean, people literally make a living by making assets for different people to download and use in their designs. Like it's what it's meant for. So I spend a little bit of money supporting them and save a whole bunch of time not having to learn how to draw mushrooms. It's not originally what I was envisioning, but I'm liking the way that this is turning out. Let's play around with some colors because I think this would be good to have a light and dark variation. And for some reason, I'm thinking pink. And I feel like for this one, it would be good to add a little bit of distressed texture to it. And that is our second design down. It definitely took a little bit more time than the first one, but there was more that I needed to figure out. Okay, so say you're an artist, maybe you already have a bunch of designs made. You could take those designs that you've already made and start making mugs, tote bags, stickers, and have it for sale within like 30 minutes. Like, trust me, as a creative, I know that we want to handle everything ourselves. Like, it's tempting to be like, oh, if I want to make a shirt, I'll just buy a bunch of blank shirts and then I'll learn how to screen print and then I can ship them to the customers as after I make a online store and then also do all the customer support. Or you could simply upload the design to Printful and then have time to make more designs that you could also put on Printful. So sometimes as creatives, it's sometimes just knowing when to save and when to spend. Okay, since I kind of got out of doing any illustrations in the first two designs, this time I'm pulling out my Clip Studio Paint and I'm going to attempt to do the entire thing from scratch. Attempt being the key word. I mean, the good thing about the design that I chose, it does look to be like a lot of rough and abstract lines, so hopefully I can replicate it.
20 minutes later.
It genuinely looks like a children's drawing right now. I always do this to myself. I'll find a design or art style somewhere as an inspiration and I'll go, yeah, I can probably do something like that. I've never done anything like that before, but I'm sure it's just lines. And instead of ever seeing the art style and being like, you know what, I'm going to take time aside, I'm going to practice that, I always wait until I'm in a time crunch and then I go, oh yeah, now's the time to struggle. Eventually, I did start getting it into a flow of things, and I can thank that a lot to taking heavy inspiration from this print in particular. The part I was really worried about was being able to make a cute looking mouse in this art style. Because at first it was not looking great. So here's my little mouse. I can't tell if he's cute or if he's cursed. You see, this is why I paid $1.50 for the frog. This took me an hour, and it's like not even comparable. Oh my god, in the composition, it's actually kind of cute. How is this the design that I think I like the best? Last step is bringing the design into Illustrator so I can vectorize it. Then of course I need to find the right font for the words Nocte Kasum. And with that, the final wildcard prompt is finished. Alright, it's the next day, so it's time to actually take the designs and turn them into real merch. So, you know, the fun part. Like I said before, Printful has a large library of products, and my goal for these designs specifically were to create t-shirts. However, if I wanted to, I could upload them to anything. I think my little wizard frog would look pretty cute on a mug, but for now, I'm just focusing on the t-shirts. I think I'm going to go with this one because it has that rose pink color that I was envisioning for this shirt, and I like this one as a long sleeve. Now I just drag and drop my design, adjust it where I want it to sit, choose any additional colors. We'll just go with this one for now. And just like that, our Fey Trap shirt is good to go. And I know I originally mentioned I was planning on doing embroidery for the frog design. However, they do recommend not putting too small of text on there. So just to be safe, I'm going to create two versions. The one that has the text is going to be printed. And now I just drag this new file that's simply just the frog, and I can still have my embroidered frog. All right, I created my product. Now I just need to connect it to the store. If you already have a store, say Shopify, Etsy, eBay, any of those, Printful can connect directly to those. However, if you're like me and just wants to sell a few products, they offer a feature called Quick Stores. You set up your store, select the product you want to sell, and you get a custom link where people can then buy the product. And from there, Printful handles the rest. If a sale is made, they make the product and they ship it directly to your customer. Well, you get to sit back, relax, and collect the profit margin. Okay, when I say it like that, it sounds like some sort of get-rich-quick scheme, which some people love to frame it as, but it really isn't. Like, don't get me wrong, it's low risk and can be a great passive income, but you do have to put in the work in making good designs and then marketing yourself. For example, it could turn out that absolutely no one wants a shirt that says cheese at night in Latin. I mean, I have a demand for it, but I might be the only one, so I might be the only one buying this shirt. And that's fine. I lost an afternoon, and that's it. And now especially is a great time to get started because we are right in the middle of the holiday season. You can have your store up and running like that and start selling product in time for the holiday gift season. And you can rest assured that anything that you order from the Printful catalog will be of the utmost quality, from the product itself to the printing of your design. I know I was so happy getting my order from Printful and being able to unpack everything, because it was so cool to see these silly little designs actually made into real merch that I can like hold and wear, and it feels cool. If you have creative ideas and want to start your own dream business in an afternoon, use the link in the description to sign up for Printful today. And if you enjoyed watching me make these designs, that link will also be in the description as well. This was a super fun challenge to do and has got me thinking of even more merch designs as well that might be a little bit more channel specific.
This was actually a lot of fun being able to brush off my design skills for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you to Printful for sponsoring this video, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!